Anyway, I'm trapped in by the heat. I had a day off, and so my brother spotted on my other Oatman upload that I incorrectly pointed over to here as the snug ravine, and they went north, did this, that, the other thing. Actually, he is correct. It is this one. Okay, so I'm a tedious narrator, and so what I want to try a new system where I give a brief overview for people that they last 60 seconds. They don't know much about the subject. They're good for about 60 seconds. Okay, here is the route after the massacre to the first camp, Captivity, and exactly where the camp is. Okay, they went along the edge of this mesa. They didn't go over the top. They went along the edge of it, which you can do barefooted. They went up to the spine. First they had the fire there where she said we couldn't eat, and they tormented us, but we couldn't eat. Well, that's because they just ate. They just finished eating. Okay, so within a couple of hours, 3 hours, they were here. And then they went down and they dropped down to where they dressed the cattle. The mysterious missing, like 17 hours that's missing from her descriptions. Okay, so this is where they dressed the cattle, and it continued on. Okay, so they beelined across over to here as dusk approached to the snug ravine where they slept, and she said, boy, it was the best sleep ever, and we ate, we were good and hungry, and we ate good. Well, that's because they were hungry by then. Okay, so the snug ravine is right in here. Snug ravine means nothing unless you know about the subject and have read Blue Tattoo and McGinty's book. Okay, so then they woke up, and this is the part where she said, worst day of my life. Well, it wasn't that bad. But they woke up, and now this is what will confuse people that go up searching. Well, why didn't they come down this? Okay, for good reason. They could be spotted for miles. Also, it does not match all of his descriptions. All of his descriptions said where they went, and matches perfectly that they went here. Now, where the so-called Comanche shot the arrow at her, which did occur, was right here. Was right here, because she described it perfectly. And if you go up there, it turns out that her writings describe perfectly where they were at. Okay, so they go across basically flat landscape. No, they didn't go across the top of that mountain, but they walk across basically pretty much flat old lake bed. They go across, they go across, they go across. Now right here is critical, because this is when they first encountered the Indians, what were right in here, the Indians that were on the outskirts. That's where they stood them on sticks, spit on them, and burned them with hot sticks, stuff like that was right here. It's right next to the road. It's right next to the road. Okay, and then they laid around resting a little bit, and then they marched them up to the camp the next morning. Okay, so they marched straight up here, straight up here, straight up here, and there's the first camp of Captivity. Is right there. Is right there. The so-called gurgling springs and the pools of water that her and Marianne drew water from are just up from the Shady Rest, right up here. The Shady Rest is where they had to listen to the Indians telling their stories for a year. It's right there. Okay, now the Seep Spring, for those that know about the Seep Spring, where's the Seep Spring? Okay, the Seep Spring is up here above what is now, excuse me, that's a natural dam. That's where the petroglyphs are. There's a check dam there. See, here's the pools of water. See the pools of water? Okay, so there's a check dam there in the wash, and see, there's the check dam. And so the Seep Spring is just right up here. Seep Spring is right up here, where when these pools dried up and became stagnant and everything, they would go up to the Seep Spring. Okay, so where is the first camp of Captivity? And here it is. Just look at the shady rest. It's in the Harquahalas. It's not up in the mountains. It's in the wash. It's in the wash. And there is Aglia, Arizona. It's not Aguila. It's Aglia. Aglia, which is eagle. Eagle in Spanish. So there's Aglia. And there's the first camp of captivity right in there. They did go up into here. And there's petroglyphs and stuff like that. But they wouldn't go up there that much unless there had just been rain. That the main camp where the chief was right down in here. It was right down in here. Okay, the camera, the battery is not running dead. So I'll keep going with this one for a minute. Now, to get up to the first camp captivity, you park here. You park here, right at this wash. I'm tongue-tied for the name of it right now, but you park right here, and you follow the road. See this road? You follow that road in. Follow it in. Follow it in. Follow it in. Follow it in, and then it veers up. It veers straight up to the first camp captivity. But that's where it is. And so, like, I think I'll stick these together, but the question is, well, how do you know this? How do you know this? Olive said where they went. She said where they went. She described it perfectly, but her distances were off. She said where they went, and she described the area, including the seep spring, and this is it. This is it. There is nothing else there. A huge part of the equation was that in desert searching, most of the area is ruled out. You can rule it out. See, from here to there, it's ruled out. There's no water, there's no springs. And plus, she said where they were going and the distances, which the total distance of the hike to the first camp captivity is, I'll say 70 miles to round it out. But easily doable by anyone in 3 days, which is exactly how long it took them. And she said so. That also defines it. The distance and the hiking of average 15, maybe 18 miles a day defines where the area is they ended up. And so what do you have here? This area, which is where the first camp captivity was. Also, there's other things, such as, for instance, one rule I made to myself when finding it is that if one single thing does not match exactly, then it is totally discounted. Everything has to match. Well, it did, including the plants that are there. And also this slope is where the Indian chief and the wife came down with the horses to get Olive away, to barter them away. And so she was down here when she viewed up, and she said, we saw them coming down the hill. In other words, everything matches. Everything matches. So that's it, without getting into too much detail on this one.